Alrighty, we have another daily recap. Yeah, we basically tapped the daily order block and breaker here today and kind of sold off from there. Is what it looks like. Now that the day's kind of concluded, in truth, we opened, took previous day low, ran into these things, ran back down, ran back up at the start in New York, sold off to where the low of day is, and then rallied basically back all the way up into them, and then came back down. So yeah, it wasn't like a clean, up and down thing, but yeah, we can get into everything. I'm gonna quickly sidebar at the start just to keep this in chronological order because once again I traded London, and yeah, coming into London, like coming into the 3 o'clock open, this was what I was looking at. We had SMT with YM on the lows, right? Here, big SMT at previous day low. Basically, it's not quite the swing low that's here, but it's somewhere here on YM. But essentially, it's just daily consecutive candle SMT on the lows. And we had this big displacement with a previous day like PMI here, end of PM session, and Asia, basically a equal high stack up here, which we were clearly displacing toward. Also on the hourly chart, looking nice. So yeah, I was bullish, and yeah, we opened 3 a.m. inside of this rally and instantly, sell off, big 1 minute candle, end up forming a little bit wonky breaker, and longs are there. 3R delivers into those highs, and 3R was a little past the highs, but that still delivered. I ended up not trading this on my Lucid accounts, and there's one very simple reason why, right? Just to show here. Again, this was the setup fully, right? So close above the order block here, and then nice sound effect, huh? Yeah, I mean, this model in London, just kind of looking at a 3M Judas, has been really good this week. There's been 4 setups, technically, because there was like a ping pong setup on Tuesday, or on Monday, I think. No, yeah, it was on Monday. But there's been 4 setups, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all 4 of them hit 3R. So, yeah, I definitely will be keeping an eye on this going forward. I think, again, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, this like London trading idea isn't necessarily something that always works this well. I think right now the conditions are just kind of mid when it comes to New York sessions, and therefore London is delivering some pretty nice price action. Maybe that's just random, but yeah, I mean, so far this week and the previous week, so last week, this kind of framework has really been doing very well. And it's not just like a mechanical, slop model, but like just the frameworks that are being given, right, with these like really nice equal highs at Asia high up here and the clear displacement towards it. And then yesterday we had that like trade basically targeting weekly internal in like an hourly market maker sell model, hitting an hourly PD array, 50-minute PD array in OTE, and having like a beautiful 1 minute breaker with SMT at the highs. Whatever. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much time on this, but that was the London trade. The reason I didn't take this on Lucid accounts is just purely off the fact that it looked to me like we could potentially go down to tap the breaker, or once we closed, the first 15-minute candle, the fair value gap here, like I was kind of missing the actual tap of a PD array. Yes, we did tap a 5-minute gap, but we also inversed that 5-minute gap. So to me, that was kind of what was missing in order for me to take this with that. But now that we have this logged, I already logged screenshots of it, so we can just tab out of this page because that was just a quick sidebar, and we can quickly jump down into this. Today's session basically we retrace into or towards the 4-hour internal pools, right? Like I'm just gonna double mark them here. And ES tap not only the first but also the second, but we had SMT with ES at that high time frame internal. When tapping those daily PD arrays, from there we sold off. Then we got a big rally back into that range, and then kind of came back down. So if I quickly drop down to the hourly chart, you'll see what I mean. Where basically, right, we go down in Asia, up in London, down into New York, then up into New York, like early New York, right, 8 a.m., rally up into there, 9 a.m., down into there, 10 a.m., back up into there. So a lot of back and forth. ES was much more bullish today. We had a big SMT at London lows. But yeah, trade-wise, I was actually expecting us to, even though we had the SMT, run into these for at least the first 4-hour gap on NQ, especially after this push that we had kind of in the 8 a.m. hour and this big FVG that we opened up and traded down into. I was eyeing continuation trades from there. Nothing presented, and then at some point it was just kind of clear that we weren't interested in that. And after that fact of that, we got this hourly close below this breaker and order block right here, right? And I thought potentially we could get a continuation lower, eyeing the daily swing low here if we get, motivated, which is actually where I took a trade on the intuition model for. I think there were like 2 setups that I liked for the intuition model, and technically there was a third, but I think that was, I don't know, I just didn't have the vision for that setup. We'll say it like that. But there were 2 setups. One I took, spoiler alert, break even. And then when it comes to the macro model, the first macro we were just ripping lower, and the long down here, even though we had that high time frame SMT, comes after the macro is over. Then 1050 is kind of just chop, and actually we get a setup here where at 1150 we had these relative equal highs with this internal here, right? And we were tapping this FVG actually with SMT on the 15-minute chart to this SMT on to this FVG on ES. ES was down in this lower FVG, but then 11:45 we open and wick lower, and we get a consecutive candle SMT as well. And then there was a nice 1-minute breaker there. And yeah, surprise, bro, I actually got an entry. I actually got a fill. And then yeah, we had FOMC meeting minutes in PM, which yeah, for those who know, FOMC minutes is just like the biggest bullshit folder, and usually doesn't do anything. And it doesn't do anything not in the sense of like it's like there was no folder and we get a normal PM session. I mean, like, in the sense of price just fucking doesn't do shit. Like, consolidates basically. So yeah, we can quickly sidebar before I actually get into this, into the thing that I mentioned where there would have been a potential short to take here that I didn't get. Reason why I didn't take the short, I think, is mainly I wasn't super sold on the sell-off initially, right? Obviously, once we got like this 935 candle that was super aggressive, and then kind of it looked to me like, okay, there's no, I didn't see us like running back up here, to be fair, but I think I wasn't aggressive enough in kind of flipping my bias, because even though these relative equal lows are really nice, like this is a clear, original consolidation for a market maker model profile. And yeah, like we lack any SMT at those 930 highs. I think that was one thing. Like if NQ had taken this out and then we broke down, I maybe even would have been short here, right? Like it maybe if we had that SMT on the highs, which I'm actually interested in. Like let's say we ran these highs, would that be enough for a 3R? Okay, yeah, easily. Anyway, now I could have potentially shorted this 5-minute gap just straight up, but I actually had and this is obviously hindsight now, and hindsight now I mean like 3 minutes later I was like, ooh. But yeah, this is the retracement that taps that gap. And we had a inversion gap, right? So we tap the 5-minute, we get this nice long wick that then closes this this bullish gap as an inversion. I really just think simply just entering off that inversion, anticipating that, with the kind of momentum, quote unquote, we have going, this drawn liquidity and then the 5-minute rejecting and the 1-minute confirming the 5-minute rejection. One could have anticipated a quick sell-off here and caught a easy 3R and then potentially even 4.5 on a runner. And would that not have been nice? So yeah, I just want to quickly point that out. I thought that was something that I maybe could have done better for the intuition model. Like that was quite a nice setup. What I ended up doing was not as nice of a setup, to be fair, to be totally honest. Essentially, we had sold off and taken out London lows. And as I mentioned, we got that change in the state on the hourly, leaving an hourly fair value gap, hourly breaker and order block, like slightly above us at the 10 a.m. open. And we open at 10 a.m. And initially I was hoping for like we run up into those, running this short-term high and then reject. But after a while here, especially after this 1-minute gap and 10 a.m. stack holds price lower and we tap it in and go lower, I was willing to anticipate that we're not gonna take those retrace to those hourly levels and instead just kind of be weak enough that we don't have to. And at this moment in time, I really thought we were gonna break down to that daily. Okay, I can't scroll back on the 1 minute, but like I'd say maybe somewhere like here is the daily swing low. I thought we were gonna run these extra, 150, 130 points and go down there and take that, to be 100% honest, especially after how this delivered. Yeah, but I shorted this propulsion block, essentially is what it is, yeah. Coming off of that 1-minute gap and the 10 a.m. open. And yeah, I went break even already when we hit the external slightly before 2R, but I just thought if we're going to come back up there, this kind of cooked. But yeah, we also just go on to hit 2R, and obviously the target for this model would be 3R. So let's quickly slap on a -3 standard deviations. That didn't work. It didn't accept my minus. There, that was where TP would have been an extra $80 that I was looking to grab there. Yeah, but price hits 2R and reverses a cheeky little 1-minute order block and breaker here, as I mentioned. Again, like one could have definitely looked to long this. I didn't like the look of it. I don't know. Maybe if I wasn't annoyed by the break even of the short, I would have been more ready to take this. I don't think so though. I just really didn't like it that much. Um, Other than that, I guess you could argue maybe I should have closed my short here, but like it was only $86 in profit as we closed, right? Because I only was able to take one con because it was like a 40+ point stop. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, from there, nothing much. I think essentially what I needed to do was kind of be a little more alert to the shorts earlier, and then end up trying to find something in this quick little retrace, and that would have been how to catch a nice trade in New York today. Other than that, break even on this, and yeah, then price runs higher. As I mentioned, 1050 macro, we do kind of get like a 1 minute breaker here in the 1050, but there was no SMT. And then eventually, actually, this breaker also would have delivered, I'm pretty sure, off of this. But eventually, as I mentioned, we kind of put in these relative equal highs with the 50-minute internal, retrace down, start rallying away here, and then in the 11:45 candle, we get this little breaker down here as we get consecutive candle SMT with ES, where ES runs out the 11:30 15-minute candle low, which NQ doesn't. Closes above 11:56, and then beautiful 2R delivery, very quick, which I think is something that oftentimes when you end up kind of eventually getting the setup that can deliver on a bunch of built up consolidation, oftentimes you'll get a quick slice like that. Like if I've had a few setups, especially with this model, that end up kind of having this framework of, I guess you could say, AMD. It's slightly extended, like AMD you would expect big rally here. It's like one extra retrace, which then gives us the SMT in the trade. Yeah. Again, this was definitely a cheeky little setup. Probably. I was thinking about squeezing it. I mean, I think I squeezed it for like an extra $20. Because like risk on this was, I took it with 3 cons and I was risking like 96. But like I definitely could have, I could have got a little pushy with this. I almost took it to 3R, to be fair. I had a limit up here, but then I was like, let's stick to our rules. I probably squeezed out like 2.2 or some shit on this, to be fair, because I just had the feeling after this 12 a.m. candle that we were probably just going to get a quick pop into these relative equal highs. But then I just weighed, is that really worth it to then have like the first kind of winning setup, which I then tried to squeeze an extra, $50 out of, and for that end up not getting a TP potentially. And I was just like, nah, let me just stick to my rules and I'll be a dickhead. Yeah, and then after that, not much. 1250 macro, I really also already was anticipating kind of not doing much in this macro, just based off the fact that, again, we kind of got our opening range, retraced into a premium, and then we were now kind of like starting range, retrace towards equilibrium, consolidate. That's kind of been the go-to, right? Like if we look at yesterday's session, nope, that's Friday. That is Monday. Where's yesterday? I don't know, here. If we look at yesterday, we get our range, retrace to equilibrium, and then consolidate. Roughly, right? But yeah, I was kind of expecting just consolidation mixed with the PM folders approaching. I just didn't see a reason to push anything there. And yeah, that's what it ended up being. Not no trades, but break even day on the intuition model framework, and +2 on the macro models. And then the London trade forward testing, technically again, was a +3R. Yeah, again, Tomorrow, I'm going to once again look at London, and if we get a beautiful framework, I'm definitely willing to look at the Lucid accounts. We're going to have a daily gap up here, which I think could be a very nice draw on liquidity. With all these relative equal highs that we keep stacking up here, this definitely will be a draw, you know, at some point to catch a nice trade towards. Who knows, maybe it's tomorrow in London, maybe it's tomorrow in New York, maybe it's neither, and we just end up cranking our way down to that daily swing low somewhere down here. But yeah, that's the recap. Yap session over.